The Mount Moon Review podcast, while a podcast about Pokemon, is not intended for children. You can expect some instances of adult humor, coarse language, and adult situations. Parental discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 40 of the Mount Moon Review podcast, the only podcast that's considered essential right now. I am your host, the Raz Duck, with my co-host, the Blue Duck Gold Duck, bringing you all the news you need to know from the world of Pokemon that's happened in the last week in about an hour. So, it's been another week of sitting in our houses, not really doing much, Duck.
Yeah, I still working.
Me too.
That's it, just working home.
Yep, that's the thing. It's working home, and it's getting tiresome. It's getting tiresome. I eat out more than I should. I understand that. I need a good restaurant right now, like badly. But I digress. At least we're working. We can't say anything bad about that. We still have income coming in, so I can't complain. It's a lot better than some people have right now. There's been some news coming out, believe it or not. Even with the world of Pokemon pretty much shut down right now, there is some news coming out. I'm kind of surprised at it myself. And luckily, throughout the week, I send stuff to Duck, and he looks up his own stuff, and then he compiles the list for us every week. And we're going to bring it to you. We're going to keep doing the podcast as long as there's stuff to tell. We're going to come out here and say it. And we're going to make sure we're giving you something to do while you're sitting at home. If nothing else, you can listen to us rattle on or watch us on YouTube. So, Duck, typically, as is our custom, we start with the video game format.
So Zarude, the monkey-esque mythical Pokemon that they revealed that we'll be getting eventually. We got some new details on that. But it's not how we're going to get it. It's just a small little detail that at level 90, it learns the move Jungle Healing. And the move heals all damage on all allied Pokemon, including this one, and removes status conditions.
Oh my God, this is broken, dude.
Well, I'm glad it's a mythic, which means it can't be used in any of the official tournaments. As you know, traditionally they can't be used. But if this were to be allowed in VGC, it would be real stupid unless it gets one shot. And with the typing, like it's dark and grass, so
it's possible
any bug type attack is gonna, take it out.
But still, I mean, that is an incredibly broken move. And the only thing you're not getting it to level 90, but I'm thinking since it's mythical, typically those are not allowed in the VGC format. I think it's going to be one of those. It's plays a part in the Isle of Armor storyline, perhaps, and it's going to give you that maybe it's something you do need in order to get past an extremely hard boss. I don't know. It just seems like it's why would you do that?
It's going to be awesome to have in raids.
That's true if you can if you can use it in raids too. So.
Well, there's currently no Pokemon in the game that you can't use in raids.
We never know. They could change anything at any time.
But that I wasn't thinking about it being in raids. That's probably the whole point of this Pokemon is to heal the entire team in a raid situation.
That's quite possible. It's still gonna be an easy knockout though. But I don't know. It seems like such a tease. Here you go. This OP as hell Pokemon, but you can't use it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the way it goes. The same thing with oh my goodness, Zeraora is another one that's pretty good, but they never allow it in tournaments, so
yeah,
we never get to see quite how good it is unless it's in the fan formats, and those are typically single battles, so Zarude's broken move doesn't really come into play all the time.
Yeah, usually the fan tournaments are usually one-on-one or single battles as opposed to the team doubles.
Yeah.
So you're right though. But speaking of tournaments like that, we talked about it a couple weeks ago where Limitless tried to do their tournament, and the server they were trying to use, failed in dramatic fashion. Nothing on Limitless. I have no qualms with them at all for that, but it didn't happen at all. But now it seems like everybody and their mother is coming up with their own tournament right now. So you don't have this one massive event. You're having these little events all over the place. And then you have people like Wolfie Glick that's doing the Champions Cup. Then you got folks like A Drive doing their version of everything. So we have every single person under the sun doing these tournaments. Are you going to compete in any of them?
I'm not planning on anything, but if I want to compete, if I get the itch to play in a tournament with like little planning, I go to PokemonShowdown.com. It's actually a battle simulator. You click on you click on a list of any Pokemon you want. You set them up however you want, and then you can play random battles against random people playing with the same rule set as you.
But you don't have to. But you don't have to breed anything. You can just pick it up.
Yeah, you just click. You're like, oh, I want Alakazam. I click on Alakazam. I get a list of all its moves. I put the moves on. I have a little slider for the EVs and IVs, and then it doesn't let you create Pokemon that are illegal for the format. So it checks it before you finalize your team.
Does it cost? Does it any cost to it at all?
No, it's free, and they have tournaments every day. Like, there's just a timer that automatically sets up tournaments in all the different formats.
Wow. And this is not a paid advertisement, folks. I swear to you. This is just Duck fanboying out.
It's something I used. Like, I didn't really use them for Sword and Shield, but I did use it back in the day when I played really, really heavily.
Well, it's good information to have
before you breed it.
Yeah, because they're I mean, a lot of times anymore with the way everything is, it doesn't really take a whole lot of time to put a team together. Once you get the stuff that you need and get through the bone work for it, but
it took a little bit longer back in the day.
Yeah, but at the same time, why bother going through getting everything and testing it out when you can just do it this way?
Exactly.
So it'd be nice if Pokemon actually did something on an official basis, so that.
That's what I say they should do.
Yeah.
That's my argument. I shouldn't have to grind to practice.
This is true, especially in a competitive format. It's not as though you're. It would be different if. Well, no, I would say if it was randomly generated and you didn't know the statistics, but one, people would hack to find it out, and then I digress because then you're screwed on the numbers. But anyway, so we have a broken Pokemon coming out. What else you got for VGC? Anything?
Yeah, so from now until April 15th, the Easter event is going on, and baby Pokemon are boosted in raids. But also, Ditto is boosted for raids, and it's got a high chance of being 5 IVs, which means there's a 1 in 31 chance of your 5 IV Ditto being a 6 IV Ditto. Perfect 6 IV stats.
Wow.
So this is the time to get it. If you haven't done the stupid grind to get one before, right now is the time to go out and do Ditto raids until you finally get a perfect one. And the rewards in it are also breeding items and EV boosting items. So that's probably going to be your the power anklets and stuff. It's going to save you a lot of BP if you're just getting into breeding now.
And it's something you're probably going to want to do as opposed to trading for one with people off the internet in some strange way, because Pokemon is coming out more and more now saying that they are going to ban accounts that they detect to have any kind of odd data on them. So you're looking at the possibility of you not even realizing it and having a hacked Pokemon, and you're going to get banned. So this is, if you're going to start doing this kind of breeding, because what people don't seem to realize a lot of is the rules are, even if you breed something from a hacked Pokemon, it's still considered a hacked Pokemon. So
now, I don't know if the systems can figure that out, but it's possible.
It's somebody. If they're determined enough to do it, they can figure it out. I'm sure. I'm sure there's some kind of data that gets transferred over. So don't take the risk. Spend some time. Just get yourself a Ditto that you know is clean, and go with that. That way you're not going to end up going to a tournament and spending the money, spending the time, spending the travel, spending the lodging, and then getting kicked right out the gate.
Oh, and I just want to put a little PSA out there. I'm in a group chat, and they thought that doing raids for 0 IV speed Dittos was good. It's not. If you want zero in any stat, go to the wild and just farm Ditto. Catch 100 Ditto in the wild. And they have a better chance of having zero in a stat than the raid ones, because the raid ones have 100% chance to have 31 IV in certain stats.
Yeah, so go get the wild scum and pick up their Flotsam and Jetsam, and there you go. So that's a good tip there, Ducky. Good tip.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I didn't think about, but now I see where somebody might get confused about that. So that's definitely a good thing to do.
It's funny because it seems like it should be such an easy game to pick up. Essentially it's a complicated game of rock paper scissors. But once you get into the mechanics of it, you almost have to know how programming in games work to figure out how to do stuff on here, and it's ridiculous. Luckily, there's a lot of resources online, but if you don't understand things like what Duck just explained, where you catch it could affect its stats, and the ones that you're ideally going after, you might spend days and days of wasted time.
I've done it. Before I knew how to do it, I did my research and got confused about a couple of things, and I was doing things where I had a 0 chance of getting perfect Pokemon.
Yeah, these things happen. They really do. When I first started getting into breeding and doing stuff like that, I was doing everything wrong. I was doing everything wrong. No matter how many YouTube videos I watched and tried to do it, I was still all right. Duck hitting Duck was like, nope, doing it all wrong.
Yeah, but you got there pretty fast. You figured it out within like a day or two.
Yeah, and once I got them, then it seemed like I really didn't need to breed, because every time I went to catch something, I was like, done. Yep. I was just like,
oh yeah, once you get set up, it's way streamlined, but getting set up is the part where you can make a lot of mistakes.
It really is. But I think is that all we have for VGC this week?
That's it for video games.
But now we move on to the complicated stuff, folks. We're going in to TCG.
Yeah, so this is something that's unprecedented for Pokemon TCG history.
Unprecedented.
Pokemon copyrighted a name for Japan's July set, I think, June or July set, and they had to change it.
June,
yeah. Their June set was going to be called World Down. That was what it translated from Japan. And
they decided against that.
Yeah. I think maybe because the world is literally being beat down right now as we speak.
Well, when a service is down and the world is currently down, I get it. Okay, so yeah, man, we gotta change the name.
Right. And I guess they hit it on the right time. I was reading an article. Somebody who probably understands this stuff a lot better than me said it was probably right before they were printing the packs that they decided to change the name. And the new name is going to be called Infinity Zone, which is a play on Eternatus's Japanese name. I guess it's infinity something. That's what Eternatus translates into.
Eternatus. I mean, nobody knows how to pronounce the bloody thing.
I know.
I mean, really, I want to go. I want to go over to the Pokemon of Japan and say, pronounce it. Do it.
Ask him how to say Arceus. Because it's got they said it 3 different ways in the anime, so now nobody knows how to talk about it. Nobody knows how to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because, this isn't our only program. We have the Mount Moon Review podcast. We also have the Untitled Anime Show, and we talk about reviews for anime and stuff like that. But this week, Funimation, which is a production company that does a lot of voiceover work for dubs, they came out with a little tiny trailer, basically, that they were going to start recording from home for shows like My Hero Academia. And it's funny because with those dubs, they crank them out so fast. It's really up to the company that's doing the dub to quality control their translations and their director to make sure everyone's doing everything together, especially now that they're separated. But in Pokemon, you would think that they were doing that in a sterile environment. They had everybody come to the one studio. They did everything there, and they did it as a major production. And they pronounce it 3 different ways.
Yeah.
So we got a company based in Texas who has their people sitting at home right now, hanging up blankets and making their own makeshift recording studios. Stuff that's not even as nearly as complex as what we're using right here to make the Mount Moon Review podcast. And they're cranking out production quality stuff. And we have the Pokemon Company who can't pronounce their own names. So just a funny observation, really. I'm sorry, Duck. You can continue.
Oh, you're good. So Japan's next set is so that's their June set. The set before that, their next set coming out that we're just getting card leaks for is called Eruption Walker, and it's going to focus on Scorch and Gardevoir VMAX.
Wait a minute, it's called what?
Eruption Walker.
Okay.
That's what it's going to be called for us. It'll have a different name for us.
Still.
You got to look up the Japanese names for sets.
It better be a fire. It better be all fire. That's all I have to say. It better be a fire-centric set.
Well, yeah, it focuses on Scorch.
Yeah, but I'm not talking just Scorch. It better be like a lot of fire stuff. Minus Charizard, because God bless it if we don't have... let's have a set that doesn't have a Charizard in it, okay? Go on.
I think we could use a Charizard. We haven't got a good Charizard since Team Up, so we could use another good one.
Sure, we could. Go ahead.
I'm just kidding. But so they've leaked quite a few cards already. This is kind of crazy that almost every day we're getting a new card translation, and we just found out the name of the set. Usually we know the name of the set, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later we start getting the cards. But I think almost every card that they've revealed is going to make a splash in the game.
Well, you sent me a whole list of translations, and
yeah, because they're leaking on different days. The translations are all being written about in different places. So I went and made a little Word document to keep it a little bit more organized.
Yeah, and let me just put this provision out there. These are not vetted translations.
No, yeah, this is somebody else who understands it and is translating to English. And I'll point out the ones that seem a little weird to me. So their effects might be a little different.
Yeah. So let's just start out here. Right at the gate, we got Scorch V.
Yep.
It's going to be a fire type, obviously, with an HP of 210. And its moves are going to be Burning Emissions. You may discard 1 energy from this Pokemon. If you do, choose 1 energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon and discard it. So essentially, you have to burn one of your energies, but you can also burn one of your opponents. So
it costs 1 fire energy to use the attack.
That's why I said you have to burn one of your own to burn one of theirs.
Well, no, but the energy cost is 1 fire.
Yeah. That's what you said.
How many energy do you need attached to do the attack?
1.
Yeah. Okay.
So you do the attack, you discard that 1 energy, so you burn yours, and in turn you can burn one of theirs.
Yeah, and that
English, Ducky, English.
All these V Pokemon are getting 1 energy attacks, so it's definitely going to turn 1 attacks on when they finally get rid of the tag teams in rotation.
We also got requiring 4 energy. Burning Train does 180 damage. But when you're... Yep, it's still big as Pokemon V, so it takes 2 prize cards. You got Water Weakness ×2, no resistance, and it costs 3 to retreat. That's pretty rough.
Actually, yeah, that's kind of... you don't want to start with this.
Well, I didn't say you did.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that... If you're going to build your deck around Scorch V, then, having a 3 retreat cost is kind of detrimental. That kind of changes the whole dynamic of the deck.
A little bit.
The next thing is Scorch V Max. It's a fire type with 320 HP.
My lord. That's a lot of HP.
That's the amount of HP we're seeing on these V Maxes.
It is.
So for 2 colorless energy, it has the move G Max Centinferno. It does 40 damage plus 40 for every fire energy attached to this Pokemon. And then after you use the attack, you may attach a fire energy from your discard to the Pokemon after you calculate the damage.
Wow. That is
You remember Gardevoir GX?
I could not forget that card.
This is Gardevoir GX, Super Saiyan.
Yeah, I can see that. What was the name of the attack on the Gardevoir? I can't remember what that was even called.
I probably said it 4,000 times, and I don't remember.
That's because you played.
I know. I played that card its entire run, even when it got bad.
But again, yeah, I mean, it's essentially it's an upgraded form of Gardevoir. It is a VMAX, so your opponents are still taking 3 prize cards on knockout. You got a water resistance × 2 and a retreat ×3 again for the Scorch VMAX.
The biggest thing here, though, is the 40+.
Yes. So if you can manage to keep stacking, and you got a way to attach some energy, well, there's a whole lot of ways you can attach energy now. And
we've already seen the what is it? The Colossal, the baby Colossal that can pull a fire energy from your discard pile and attach it.
Right. So you're already seeing some deck ideas from that. But if you can start stacking up there, you're looking at some VMAX one-hit knockouts.
That's what I was trying to get at. You need 7 energy to knock out a 320 HP Pokemon. And with accelerating with this attack itself, and you accelerate with this attack, plus if you can get the Colossal out, you're accelerating 80 damage per turn.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's if you see that coming out, you're gonna need to knock it out quick, folks.
On top of that, you have Welder.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Welder.
Welder's still a thing, folks.
I play Welder, and now I'm doing 100. I play Welder for 120 damage, plus whatever energy I already had.
So yeah, this is definitely going to be a card to look out for, and I think very quickly you're going to see a lot of decks that are revolving around that card.
I think we're also getting a reliable gust effect in Giovanni, or Boss's Orders. So the 3 retreat cost might be a detriment to this card, but there's still plenty of switches that are going to be legal for a while.
Yeah, at least for a little while anyway. So next we got Gardevoir V, Psychic type, not fairy anymore. Psychic type, HP is 210. For 1 Psychic energy, you get Magic Shot for 30 damage. Meh. And then you got 2 Psychic and 1 Color energy for Overflowing Wave, which is another 120 plus damage. This attack does 80 more damage if you healed any damage from this Pokemon during this turn. So if you were even... What do we got that's legal right now for healing? What do we got?
Well, we're going to talk about some healing, but you've got potions.
Mm-hmm.
There's some potion cards that are allowed. There's not too much other than what we're going to talk about. Not that comes to mind, because usually you don't play that many healing cards.
Right, and so your Pokemon, it is a V card. It's 2 prize knockout. It is weak to Metal ×2, and it does have a 2 energy retreat cost.
Pokemon Center Lady comes to mind, but I doubt that's going to even make it in this deck, even though there's synergy.
Right on.
Next up, we have Gardevoir VMAX, Psychic Pokemon, 320 HP. Evolved from Gardevoir V. Mm-hmm. 2 Psychic, 1 Colorless, has Max Cure. It does 180 damage and heals 50 from itself. So not only is this thing knocking things out, but it's also healing damage.
That's pretty big. I mean, that's pretty big.
50 damage could be the difference between a 2-hit knockout and a 3-hit knockout if you heal multiple times.
Yep. And it is a VMAX, so it is worth 3 prize cards, but that's its only attack is that Max Cure. So it might take a little bit to knock it out, unless you got another VMAX powered up that can take that big swing. This one might be a 3 or 4 hit knockout.
I could see it making a splash, but it all depends on what comes out. It's Psychic now, so it has the support of Malamar. Mm-hmm. To accelerate the energy to it a little bit.
And since it is a VMAX, it is two retreat cost. It's not 3, it's 2, so that's a little bit better on that end. But you got something to say about it, Ducky?
I was just thinking, Mallow and Lana. Also, it switches and heals, I believe. So you could heal your Gardevoir, boost its damage up by 80, switch it, and then like Jirachi or switch back into active.
My God.
So I think I think Gardevoir V might end up being a deck. I don't know if the next Gardevoir is gonna be good enough. Now, if they can make it real tanky, and you're finding other ways to heal, I guess the deck's already gonna be pretty heal heavy. And you're healing 50 damage, you might just have an infinite broken Gardevoir, just like you used to have.
Like you used to have. The
Gardevoir GX that just kept healing all the damage off of it.
Yeah.
Move all the energy off, heal, and then move the energy back on.
So next up, we have Heat Fire Energy, which is a special energy card. This card provides one rainbow energy.
No, one fire.
Fire energy. Going by your little abbreviations here, which is attached to a Pokemon. If this card is attached to a fire Pokemon, its max HP is increased by 20. So that's not bad. Not great, but it's not bad.
Well, we're starting to see multipliers of 40, right? On Scorch?
Yeah.
Scorch has 320, which is already a multiplier of 40. This puts it into 340 when it has the energy attached, which means it's going to survive one more hit from other modifiers. We usually see a lot of cards start hitting the same numbers. Like a lot of the best decks are all based around hitting like 210. Now it's going to be 320. 270 is one for the tag teams. There's going to be target numbers to hit, and if a Pokemon can hit those numbers easily, then it's good. But these cards that add HP or heal damage is
that's where you're throwing the wrench into it.
Exactly. So while 20 HP doesn't seem crazy,
every little bit helps.
You might survive a hit that you wouldn't have survived without the 20 HP.
This is very true.
Then Odd Canned Food.
Odd.
Yeah, it's an IM card we're getting, and this is the one that has synergy with Gardevoir. Heal 80 damage from one of your Pokemon with a Psychic Energy attached to it, then discard the Psychic Energy. So if your Gardevoir's on the bench, you can heal the damage and then put the energy immediately back on after discarding it with Malamar.
Okay, I see where you're going. So yeah, I mean it's going to be very specialized, but it could definitely come in handy.
Well, I mean, plus
it has the healing in general.
you're gonna heal 80 damage and do an extra 80 damage in your attack just for playing this card.
Yeah.
So if you already have you might not even need to reaccelerate the energy. You just attach a Psychic Energy just to discard it to get, the
oh dear Lord
80 damage boost.
Pair that with the Gardevoir VMAX.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
160 damage off of your or no, 130 damage off of your Gardevoir.
Jeez. Next up, we have a Stage 1 Isopod, HP 130, evolves from Wimpod. With 2 energies, it gives you Adversity Slash, which is 30 plus damage. We're still going with that plus damage. This attack does 50 more damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon V and Pokemon GX in play, which is a lot now. It's most of what people are playing anymore. So you're going to see a lot of multipliers off of that.
We're going to see a lot of decks try to back off. There's always a card like this in most of the big formats. We had a Hawlucha that was just an EX buster. I don't remember. Oh, there's a Hoopa, I believe, that does damage based on how many GXs are out. This is your next. This is the Pokemon V Buster, and Pokemon GX is in the name here, or in the attack damage. So every Dedenne, which are seeing an upswing in play right now.
Absolutely. It's not even an upswing. It's been a freaking
powerhouse. It went up and then it went down. Everybody's playing Cramorant V as a support Pokemon to snipe the Dennes. Everybody's playing Zacian V in their decks because it's got, it's basically the supporter for turn 1.
Wow.
So this is going to punish people for that. You're at least for 2 energy, you're at least looking at 130 damage on a 1 prize attacker, usually.
Yep. And for 3 energy, we're looking at Smash Turn, which is 70 damage, and then that Pokemon, switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. So Smash Turn's a move we've seen in the past that they're bringing back again. And if you got a couple of these Isopods in there, you can just keep tagging them in and out, and you're doing 70 damage each time. You do have a weakness to fire ×2 and retreat cross to 2 with no resistance.
Yeah.
So, that's that.
Next, we have Lookalike Bell, a trainer card. Search your deck for a Pokemon with the same name as a Pokemon in your discard pile, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So this is nice. It's just another, consistent card you can search for Pokemon with, and it doesn't cost anything like two cards from your hand like Ultra Ball was. You just have to have something in the discard pile. So it's a little bit more situational, but it's it's a little bit more healthy than Ultra Ball was.
It's also just important that it is an item card, so you can play multiple item cards at a time, and you could, in theory, play a couple Lookalike Bells. And Duck's typing.
Sorry.
He can't talk and type at the same time, I've noticed.
Yeah, I have a problem with that.
Next, we're gonna one of those ones that I just can't pronounce. Melodic, which is a water type, HP 120, stage 1 evolves from Phoebus. Ability, does have an ability, Bright Heal. Once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. I think it means heal 20 damage of each of your Pokemon. Which is always a game, as long as you remember to do it. That's the big thing. People, a lot of times with those abilities, they just assume that they never actually vocalize it or never actually do it. They just forget it's there sometimes. So make sure to keep an eye on that. But for 3 energy, water and what's the C stand for, Ducky? Colorless. Okay. You get Surf for 80 damage. Weakness is the lightning ×2, no resistance, and retreat 2.
So notice how there's no specifics on who gets healed here. It doesn't say water type. They don't have to have any kind of energy attached to them. It just heals all the Pokemon on your board. That means if your Gardevoir GX or Gardevoir V in the active position is damaged, then you can heal 20 damage, or you can heal damage from it and boost the damage of the attack by 80. We're seeing a lot of synergy with this healing stuff and the Gardevoir V.
It's there is certain games out there with slightly smaller cards that allow calculators. You're almost gonna have to start allowing a calculator for these Pokemon games because they're getting
start getting ties again, because you're going to be rolling changing the amount of damage on your Pokemon quite a bit.
Judge.
This ability would also stack. It doesn't limit you to only using it once per turn. So if you have another Melodic, you can use it as well, creating probably an infinite Gardevoir VMAX.
Yeah, we've seen that before with a lot of grass decks that had that different abilities like that. So
quad Shaman and one Venusaur, Celebi Venusaur.
Yeah. So that's definitely going to be something I think we'll see a lot of play in that.
Yeah.
So what do you got next, Duck? The Grimwood Tangle?
Next we got the Grimwood Tangle. It's a stadium, and once during either player's turn, after they flip any coins for an attack, that player may ignore all results of those coin flips and begin flipping those coins again. So this is like your
what?
If there's I'm trying to think of a standard card that would affect this. There used to be a Charizard card that said flip a coin for every fire, and for every fire energy attached to this card. This attack does 50 more damage for each heads.
Okay.
So if, say, I flipped it and I only got 2 heads, I'm like, well, that's not knocking my opponent out. I can activate the Grimwood Tangle's effect and reflip those coins. It would basically like the coin flip never happened, and then I can flip the coins again. And if I do more damage, it wouldn't.
In theory, you could do better or you could do worse.
You could do better or worse. So it's up to you to choose if you want to do this. But I also believe there's a Xatu right now that if you hit heads with it, then you leave your opponent with 10 HP. So this gives you a 75% chance of getting heads if you flip it correctly.
Okay.
And then they just revealed the Gardevoir card that leaves the opponent poisoned. So if you have Gardevoir and Xatu, you can use Xatu's attack, have a 75% chance to bring it to 10 HP, and then activate Garbodor's ability to poison it and take that 10 HP down, and you can knock out a full HP, a 320 HP Gardevoir VMAX with one attack.
Well, next we get the Big Parasol, which is an item card. It's a Pokemon tool. We haven't seen that language in a little while. So we got a Pokemon tool. Attach a Pokemon tool to one of your Pokemon that doesn't already have a Pokemon tool attached to it. As long as the Pokemon this card is attached to is your active Pokemon, prevent all effects of your opponent's attacks except damage done to all your Pokemon. That's a big thing. People need to really remember that damage and attacks are not necessarily the same thing. If it says put damage counters on there, it says, but I'm immune to attacks. It's not an attack. Those are damage counters. So that's something you got to keep in mind.
So with Parasol, if you have Big Parasol on your active Pokemon, attacks that say place damage counters, like Mew's attack is place 3 damage counters any way you like. Mew's attack would not be able to get through the Parasol because the damage counters are in effect. But the big number on the side that says, this attack does, it says 30, so the attack would deal 30 damage. That will go through. Pikaram's attack, the Gmax or the GX attack that it says it does 170 damage to the bench Pokemon. That will go through.
Yeah, it's just a matter of remembering and realizing that they're not the same thing. And your seasoned players know that, but a lot of your new players, that's something that they have a hard time grasping, that damage counters don't equate attack, or attack doesn't equate damage counters.
Right. I do have even seasoned players at League that will ask me like, hey, I think this is how it works, but I just want to clarify with you before we continue to play. And then I usually got to be like, yeah, you're right. Thanks. It's good to ask just in case, though.
Yeah, it is. Okay, but I think that's pretty much all of our new cards that we know of right now.
Those are the new cards, and I think this is by far the best group of cards we've ever gotten. Usually we get like 1 or 2 cool cards to talk about, and then we get, a bunch of crappy cards that are like, okay, cool, the heal 20 damage, whatever. Actually, that would be good in this format, but...
It would be. Right at the moment, we'll take any kind of healing, because apparently healing's the new thing. So, yeah, these are just the new cards of the new set from World Down, or whatever we're going to call it.
Oh, no, this set's called, Eruption Walk.
Eruption Walk.
Yeah, World Down won't come out for a while, till June.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you how far ahead that they actually print these things up. They're not just like pulling these cards out of their butt. They have a plan for them, believe it or not.
Right.
There is a synergy that they have to them. But that also means they print up how many they're going to print up, and that's usually it. So a lot of times you're running into sets where I can't get any more. Well, that's because they didn't make any more. So don't blame the retailer. Blame the jackasses online that buy them all up. But anyway, you have anything else for TCG, Ducky?
Yeah, there's a new product coming out called Battle Academy.
Ah, I saw that. I saw the images for that.
Now, it's going to retail for $20, but there's not really any other details getting. And speculation might say that because we didn't get a League Battle deck, those are the decks that they come with 2 30-card decks, and it's kind of just meant for 2 players to play and learn the game.
Yeah, what typically those cards are, the Battle Arena is what they were called. You would have 2 30-card decks, and they were actually numbered. The cards were numbered, and you actually, the first time you played, the whole game was choreographed. It had instructions on exactly what cards you're playing in what order, so that the game ended exactly the way it was intended to end, so that you can learn the mechanics of the game. And then you would actually again play those 2 30-card decks with, I believe it actually sets you to 3 prize cards, so you could play against 2 siblings or a mother and son or what have you. And then once you got the mechanics of it, you could actually shuffle those decks together, and it would be a cohesive theme deck essentially.
It wasn't that cohesive.
It wasn't, but it was supposed to be.
Like 4 energy types involved.
Yeah, but you could shuffle them together and have a theme deck. That was the concept, anyhow. Maybe it was poorly executed, but it was there. And when people suggested buying those for their first thing, I really wasn't against it. I always kind of pushed them more towards the theme decks. But I'm not really against these, but this might be what the replacement to the Battle Arena decks are.
I believe so. Those older decks, they were $10 to buy. These Battle Academies are $20, so that might lead me to believe it's going to be 2 60-card decks. That would be perfect.
That is what I would like to see.
Theme decks for a little bit cheaper than 2 theme decks actually are, and we're going to have a little, booklet in here so you can play an in real life tutorial of the game. And then, now each person has a full deck that they can then bring to their league, and it just seems to work out all the more better, or all better to do 2 60-card decks. And it's speculation though, so I could be wrong, but that's what I would be doing if I was planning product out.
Yeah, and it is speculation, and I really hope you're right. I hope it is 2 60-card decks. That would be an ideal situation. And hopefully there's some good staples in there that you can just go out and buy that $20 box, disassemble it, and get what you need.
Well, yeah, if you can be completely set up by buying this $20 box, and then the trainer's toolkit that we talked about last week.
Yeah, the trainer's toolkit looks great, and it's a great idea.
I just hope it doesn't get the versus deck treatment that the alternate Krosma deck got, where everybody buys it, and now the deck, to buy it sealed is like $40 or $50.
See, that's what we run into every time we get new sealed product. Is everyone thinks that I am going to get rich quick. I'm going to buy them out and then sell them online, and reality is they're just sitting there and collecting dust because no one's going to buy those inflated, nonsensical prices.
I mean, yeah, it's really crappy, and even the Jirachi cards, even though it came out with a non-holo version, Jirachi ended up leveling back out to the same price it was before that came out.
Yeah, it's a crappy thing to do. And I've been on that soapbox since we started this podcast, and I'm not getting off of it. I am not getting off of that soapbox. No, sir. Anyway.
Next is Pokemon Go news.
Pokemon Go?
So they were teasing a new feature, and I'm like, okay, here we go. People are finally going to get to play remotely from home. And they said that a leaderboard is going to appear in their next update.
Whoop-de-doo!
They've been doing battle leagues for a while now.
Whoop-de-freaking-do, man.
The top 500 players in the world are going to be featured on the leaderboard, and that's going to show their stats, their teams, a whole slew of information.
Who cares? Seriously, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool to do this, but it's just disappointing because they told us last week about, they've been talking for weeks now about giving people a way to play from home.
Exactly.
Like we may not get it, and I don't think it's hard to implement.
It really wouldn't be. I wouldn't think.
We might not get it until
ever.
After this goes out, and then they're going to be like, "Oh, we're taking it back."
Yeah, and
or maybe they're worried it's going to take too long to do it, and then.
Well, no, I think their biggest problem would be that once they got people into that ecosystem and they got used to playing it, they wouldn't want to go back.
That could be.
And that's kind of the concept of the game, is actually having that social dichotomy where people are going out and actually interacting, and which is something we don't want right now, and having that physicality portion to it, in stark contrast to Pokemon Sleep. Which, have we heard anything about Pokemon Sleep lately?
No.
Do you think
they just revealed it a while ago.
Do you think it went away?
I don't know. I can't think of a way that they're gonna implement sleeping, other than like you have to have the app open and you can't use your phone.
I don't know.
No, because I got 2 other phones. I'll hit max level on that.
Well, I don't know. They might do what they did with Pokemon Bank, or what the heck we're calling it now, where you can only have it on one device at a time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That still irritated me. That's what it is. Oh, but yeah. So Pokemon Go, you still
one
have
more thing.
You still have to walk, but there still is the the one Pokecoin boxes that are coming out with like every week where you can get, Ultra Balls and stuff like that, so that you can theoretically play without going out and spinning stops. So keep making sure, if you are a Pokemon Go player, make sure you're going in and checking the store on a regular basis.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what day it updates, but
I'm not even sure.
I would definitely make sure, even if you don't plan on playing that week, just
stock it up.
Pay your coin to get, I don't know, something. Whatever it is. It's better than nothing.
Well, actually, my problem is I keep running out of space, and then I got to buy more space.
Maybe that's their strategy.
It probably is. We're gonna get those 200 coins from you.
Hey, they're not gonna spend their money playing the game, but they might spend to not lose out on the 1 coin deals.
I guess. So moving on.
Have you ever heard of Pokemon Go Battle Day?
Battle Day?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Enlighten me, Duck.
So I don't know the history of this, if it's ever been done before, but it might be what they're doing instead of community days, because you can battle remotely, right?
Yes, you can. If your good friends or ultra friends are higher, so you have to be a certain friendship level to do it remotely.
So let me just explain what it is, because I don't fully know. So maybe if you play, this will make sense to you. A Go Battle Day will run on April 12th, 2020. This focuses on Meryl.
Wait a minute. What day?
It's already passed, isn't it?
It sure is.
Never mind. It was yesterday.
Well, thanks for the breaking news, Duck.
That's it for the news, guys. That's all we have.
This is what we call late breaking news. These things happen.
What we call broken news.
Broken news. Yeah, okay, there you go. So, womp womp.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, so I know that's all we got on the run sheet, Duck. But have you heard that if you go on YouTube and you search for the Mount Moon Crew, you can find not only all archived episodes in video format of the Mount Moon Review podcast, you can also find in video format the Untitled Anime Show.
What's the Untitled Anime Show?
That is a good question, Duck. And that is a show. It has these two guys in it. You may have seen them before. They're named the Razgrees and the Blue Duck Gold Duck. There's also joined by it's a girl named Sadar. I know, right? On the internet. It's weird. And these three, they binge watch anime, and then they review it. They tell you all about it. Whether you should watch it immediately, whether you should put it in your queue, or just forget it even existed. It's a novel concept, Duck. You should check it out.
But wait, if they're doing reviews, won't they spoil the entire plot?
You would think that, but they don't. They're very good at keeping that under wraps, but still letting you know what is good, what is bad, and you get 3 very varying opinions, Duck. It's great.
Wow, I'll have to go check that out.
You should.
I'm gonna look at it right now.
You should.
I can't talk while I'm typing, so...
You can also catch the Mount Moon Crew shenanigans, because like the other day when we sat down and played Uno. I know that's not exactly the most exciting example in the world, but
there's only so many number puns you can make, folks.
And you and then you realize you're beating up some kid that probably the only game they're allowed to play is Uno, and then you feel bad. But yeah, definitely, folks, check out our YouTube page. We're really trying to get it up and going. One of the sad realities of everything that's going on right now is we cannot access the website that we host the audio version of the podcast on. So normally you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. But unfortunately, their certificate on that website is expired, and I'm still waiting for their tech support to get back to me so I can log in and upload last week's episode. So there might not be an episode 40 available on the normal platforms for a while. But you can always check us out on YouTube. If you just search for Mount Moon Crew, if you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, it really actually does help us, because once we get so much traction in there, we get more ability to live stream on that platform, and we can add more videos. And right now, none of the videos are monetized at all, so you're watching them all ad-free. So you can also check us out on Twitch. My Twitch page is _Razgri01. On the rare occasion that we can get Duck to stream, it's Blue Duck Gold Duck. That's Blue Duck Gold Duck without the E. You can check us out on Facebook pages. Mine is at @TheRazgri01. There's no underscore in that one. For Duck, it's at Blue Duck Gold Duck. Again, Blue Duck Gold Duck without the E. And I've been posting a lot of memes on there, Duck, and you've been posting a lot of duck jokes. And I sent you one in the middle of the night that I know you're not going to post, but it still is kind of funny. No, we're not adults. You can also catch us both on Twitter, same usernames. And other than that, Duck, do you have anything else for us?
That's it.
Then get us out of here.
All right, guys, until next time, just remember, if it's too good to be blue, it's probably gold.
Have a week.
Just because your card is magic, you think you're safe because you killed my life orb. Baby, do you dare to not flinch? Cause I'm coming at you like a dark pulse. I know you're gonna throw. You're gonna throw a storm. But I got that lucky chance. There's no critical hits.